Last summer, I met a forester. We crossed paths while hiking in the mountains, and as we were taking a break, he explained to me how forest fires actually happen during our chat. He said that the places where fires break out the most aren't the deepest parts of the forest. Most fires start in areas covered with fallen, dry branches. In other words, the more packed a forest looks, the more dangerous it actually is. Even a densely wooded forest that is kept clean carries a much lower risk if there is no accumulation of dry material on the ground. At that moment, a lot of people came to my mind. So many people I know. I have to confess, as soon as I got home, I even opened my own closet just to look at what was inside. Now, I'm going to tell you about two types of people. I know both of them, but of course, I won't tell you who they are. The first one makes a seriously good salary, but the moment you walk into his house, you literally feel suffocated. His closets won't close, a bicycle that hasn't been ridden in years sits in his garage, and there's a blender in his kitchen cabinet that he still hasn't taken out of its plastic wrap. The price tag is even still on it. He has a ton of things he doesn't use. I remember he bought a piece of exercise equipment last year, he used it for 2 or 3 weeks, then threw a cover over it, forgot about it in a corner, and it's still sitting there. This guy waits for his paycheck at the end of every month, and his entire household budget is basically hanging by a thread. If something goes wrong, like if his car breaks down, he completely falls apart. I know this because one time that's exactly what happened. His car broke down and he spent a whole week stressed out. The second person earns much less than him, maybe even half as much. But when you walk into his house, you feel that freshness. You can breathe. There is a reason for every single item he uses to be there. There is absolutely nothing in his house that goes unused. I asked him once, "Don't you ever feel like you're missing something?" He laughed and said, "It's not my money that's missing. I just don't have excesses." He gets a good night's sleep because he has a huge space where he can breathe. If something happens, he could survive for 6 or 7 months, maybe even longer. The difference isn't income, my friend. It really isn't. The difference is how cluttered your mind is. This is where something else comes into play. I'm going to talk a bit about psychology, but don't worry, it won't be boring. The brain is constantly processing things in the subconscious, dedicating a piece of attention to every item, just in case I need it one day, without you even realizing it. Think of it just like having 50 open tabs on your phone. Even if you never look at them, the phone slows down, right? They are all running in the background, draining the battery and overheating. Your mind works the exact same way. Even the things you don't see drain you somehow. I read something about this. In environments with visual clutter, people's attention spans drop significantly. I tried it myself. The day I just cleared my desk, I genuinely worked differently. I'm not exaggerating. Now, I'm going to tell you how to declutter your life, just like thinning out a forest. But let me tell you in advance, this is not a story of poverty. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's a story of abundance. It just depends on where you look. Number one, everything has a hidden maintenance burden. Think of a kayak, for example. Even if it never hits the water, it takes up space in your yard, and it actually takes up space in your head too. It hangs over you like a debt, making you think, I need to clean that kayak too. Every big thing you buy actually grows small roots into your life. You end up needing an accessory, you need a storage space, or there's this anxious rush of, let me check if this can be used. For example, my neighbor has a boat that hasn't seen the water in 3 years, but it needs to be painted every spring, covered every winter, and even the insurance keeps running. Nothing ends when you buy a product. From that day on, that thing starts living with you, almost like a pet, but a pet you don't even like. Number two, which I think is the most frustrating one, the would I buy this again test. Look at everything in your house one by one. Really look at it and ask yourself this: if this suddenly broke today, would I go out and buy it again? Be honest. For most items, your answer will be no. I can guarantee it. I decided to try this one evening. I went and opened the kitchen cabinet, and 3 fondue sets came out. I've never used any of the 3, and one is still in its packaging. Think about it then. Those items don't really belong to you anyway. They are just things bought on a whim. Number 3. Getting bored of something doesn't mean it's broken. Does your phone still make calls, send texts, and open apps? If your answer is yes, okay then, no problem. Upgrading just because a new model came out with a slightly better camera isn't progress. It's just projecting your boredom onto an object. Think of a bird. If it tore down and rebuilt its nest every time the wind blew, it would never get any rest, right? It would be under constant construction. Sometimes staying in the same nest is enough. My dad still drives his 12-year-old car. Everyone tells him, "Why don't you change it already?" But I think the man is right. The car runs, it heats, it gets you there. What more do you want from a vehicle? If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe, and if you've experienced these things too, share your story in the comments. I can't wait to hear your story. Number 4, this feels a bit like a cheat code, but it works. Turn the natural flow in your favor. A river flows wherever there is the least resistance. It doesn't stop, it doesn't think, it just takes the easiest path. You're actually the exact same way. Admit it. Delete shopping apps from your phone. Don't leave your cards saved on websites. Make yourself type them in manually every time. Even that 2-minute hassle will wave you off most of the time. Always move forward through the hardest path, but do the exact opposite on the savings side. Let it flow automatically. Let it go somewhere before you even see it. Because relying on willpower is like walking against the wind. One day you get tired, you absolutely get tired. Everyone does. There are no exceptions to this. Number 5, to count is to truly see. Go count how many t-shirts you have one day. Don't be lazy. Sit down and count them. For most people, it turns out to be 3 times what they estimated. I tried it too, believe me. I was genuinely shocked when I found out I had 35 t-shirts. I thought I had 10 at most. Once the number comes to light, the exaggeration suddenly becomes visible too. After all, a forester can't manage a forest without counting the trees. It's the same logic. You can't manage what you don't know. Number 6, try before you buy. Before jumping into a hobby on another whim, do some research, rent the gear, or ask someone, "Can I try this out?" Because a whim is like a spark that burns very brightly in the first week, but burns out quickly. A friend of mine spent a whopping $4,000 on camping gear. He used it twice, and on the third time it was raining, so he gave up. Go look now, that tent is still sitting pristine in the storage room. Whether you are genuinely interested or just being swept away by a momentary excitement, the cheapest way to understand this is to try before you take ownership. Number 7, every item has a family. None of them come alone. A shark doesn't swim alone. It always drags small fish along with it. If someone gets a pool built, the chemicals come right after it, seasonal maintenance follows, and the clutter never ends. Working out at home is the same. First you buy dumbbells, then you need flooring, then you need a mirror, then ventilation becomes an issue. You start off just wanting to work out and end up pulling yourself into a quicksand. Before you buy something, imagine for a second who will be coming right behind it. Most of the time when you see that extra crowd, you'll change your mind anyway. Number 8, which I think is the hardest, draw your enough line in advance. If the things you want to buy keep increasing as your salary increases, you will never get anywhere. It's like running on a treadmill. The speed increases, but the distance always stays at 0. I know people who earn very high salaries but are constantly stressed out because their expenses grew right along with their income. They never stopped. Think of a balloon. No matter how much air you pump into it, it keeps growing. It's insatiable. But if at some point you say, "Okay, I'm stopping here, this is enough for me," from that point on, no matter how much your earnings increase, the excess will always be yours. And what accumulates stays with you. It doesn't go to anyone else. Number 9, real power isn't the things in your hand, it's the options at your disposal. Could you quit a job you hate today? Could you take a year off and dedicate time to yourself? Being able to comfortably say yes to these questions is, in my opinion, far more valuable than having 100 clothes in your closet. Someone I know did exactly this. Because he had savings, he quit the job he hated, rested for 6 months, and then found something much better. If he had spent that money, he would have been forced to stay, he would have been stuck. This is what real wealth is, actually. Nobody shows you this, but this is it. Number 10, the final point. Not major cleanups, but micro gardening. Don't try to empty the house from top to bottom once a year. This always gets left half done. Everyone knows it. I get pumped up on a momentary whim and start saying I'll get rid of it all, but I always leave it halfway. Instead, I started doing a small pruning every week. I review 3 or 5 things and usually throw them out or give them to someone. After all, a gardener doesn't weed their garden once a year. They keep it alive by making constant small touches. You do the exact same thing, small but regular, without ever stopping. Now let me tell you something practical you can start right today. Walk around your house this week, ask the question, if this broke, would I buy it again? And find 10 items where the answer is no. Either sell them, give them to a friend, or throw them straight in the trash. It doesn't matter at all, just get them out of your house. This month, try the 24-hour rule. When you want to buy something, wait a day first. See how many of those impulses pass and vanish. The numbers will surprise you. Now let's go back to the very beginning. Those two house stories I told you weren't random at all. That peaceful, low-item home belongs to someone who applies these rules quietly, maybe without even realizing it. The crowded, tense house belongs to someone who says, more is always better, without ever stopping to question it. Both choices are actually standing right in front of you. The choice is simple. Will things control you, or will you control things? And our nature actually shows us this every single day, we just don't pay attention. That which is sparse burns less. That which is crowded catches fire sooner or later. You should try this for a week. Just 1 week passes by like water. See how you feel. When I tried it, I was genuinely surprised. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe and like my video. Take care of yourself.